Eastern Spring Television. Ours it is.
All right, that was quite a commentary. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. You're welcome to Morning Spring today. This is the Friday edition, the TGIF edition as well. And of course, we are very delighted. Again, it's a chilly morning, quite a very chilly one. The kind that you have to be purposeful for you to get out of your bed to say you're going out to do what you have to do. But then, bill will not pay itself. Now, woman being the pay bill. And that's what we are here to inform you and, of course, talk about everything that has to do with the betterment of this great nation called Nigeria. My name remains Femi Ojo. Thank you for being here as well. Amiam, good morning.
Yes, I am Evelyn Ohiola. Thank you so much, Femi. Good morning. The rain ushered in the weekend, and we pray to God that it ushers in more blessings for us this weekend. Welcome on board to the last edition of Morning Spring for this week. We are grateful and thankful to you for being a part of our world since the beginning of the week, Monday through till this time. Like Femi said earlier, if you're not purposeful, you will not make it. You may not really make it to work. How many times did you snooze your alarm this morning? This is one of those mornings that makes you lethargic. But of course, we are already here because we know that we have to keep you updated abreast of situations around the country, starting with a newspaper review. And then we move on to the talking point where we discuss critical issues affecting us as a people, speaking to politicians, policymakers, major stakeholders to help us have better and wider perspective of the issue at hand. And Femi, lots of things to talk about, but we just have to move ahead to the newspaper review segment, but that will be right after this breather.
All right, we'll start with the Daily Trust for today. The Daily Trust newspaper, boldly written, expectedly so as well. This particular one, you get to find it on all the major dailies here in Nigeria. Sanusi returns as Emir of Kano. As Rider says, Bichi, Rando, Karaye, Gaya, monarchs dethroned, development of Badomen, northern elders. And then Nagodi challenges action in court. You can see the man there, early in the 90s, there was a song, Return of the Mac. This one is the return of Sanusi.
Of the Emir.
Yeah, Namidu Sanusi. Of course, he was formerly the Emir, and then things happened, but then things has happened again. And hopefully, or expectedly, things will still happen. Reactions, and then the dethroned kings right now. The pictures are there as well. And of course, the picture of the king is Royal Majesty Charles III and Florence Otedola, popularly known as DJ Cuppy, at the Buckingham Palace when he hosted ambassadors at a special reception for the King's Trust International yesterday. There's one happy lady there. Do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say. Copy will always be copy.
Yeah.
There's one happy human being there. Yeah. I'm moving on. And Atiku declares interest in 2027 presidential election. Okay. Tinubu orders review of varsity governing councils list after protest. And FCT residents to enjoy free 2-month ride on Abuja Metro Rail. That's coming from Yes and Wike. Many persons will feel like these are the things we want to be hearing about the FCT. You guys should just leave people, in Rivers State alone. Police arrest journalists in Abuja for what? I want to say again. And National Assembly passes bill to return first national anthem. This is a talking point in which we'll shed more light in our conversation. But this one comes quite, close to what we should talk about. By the way, Ladeji is here. Ladeji Alabi, good morning.
Good morning to you, Femi.
Yes,
a beautiful morning to you, evening.
Good
What a
morning.
beautiful one. The way you are appearing in my place, they will say, Babari Agbeo. You are appearing regal.
Of course, yes. We are preparing for something big tomorrow. Don't worry, I will dish that out to you after the show.
That's nice. That's all right. Now, this is one list, talking about the Governing Council's list. This is one list that when it was released, many persons, especially APC guys, were happy seeing themselves or their principals nominated for one thing or the other, or appointed rather. But then after that, the center is no more holding because there have been protests from different states that why we state be having like 40, beneficiaries, and another state is having like 5. Your take on that? And it's like they are withdrawing it again.
Femi, it is just another. I don't know what they do, in the thinking room, if we have any in Nigeria, before we dish out some things. I think there are some. Apparently, every state will not have equal numbers.
Equal representation.
That's the reality. But the ratio from 40 to 5, that is way too. That's like, it's less than 10, maybe about 8% difference, to that. So I feel the government should just do better. Before we roll out some things, we should not just be in a hurry. We want people to know we are doing something. Think it through. So that when you bring it out, it will not be comfortable with everybody, but at least reasonable people will come out and tell you no. At least they've tried. If you have something that you've done and it is 80%, 90% good, people will not criticize you. But when you are doing things that it's just about 30% of people in your party that are applauding you, then you should know there is a problem. And the moment you become the leader of a state or a country, by any ways or means you get there, you are no longer the leader of your party. You are the leader of everybody.
Ladiji, this is not even a party thing because people in the party are even protesting.
I get
the thing is, because of the factor of the federal character, which must be,
respected.
I think someone was mentioning, is it Cross Rivers or Adamawa having 40 persons represented on that particular list, and another state having just like 5. So the ratio is not ratioing.
Femi, that is where you put the political coloration. If you are not affiliated to a particular policy, don't forget any federal character. We've seen this in play a couple of times.
I mean, even within that same party.
Of course,
they are talking about some states are having quite way more.
It is about interest.
And that's what they are protesting.
It is about interest. 2027.
So what happens to federal character?
Femi, 2027 is around the corner for politicians. Strategic people that can get the job done for me. That's who they get to look
you
for.
Think this was
that is what it's all about. Because I don't understand why we're talking about federal character, where every state must be, even if it is not equally fairly represented. And here you have a state having 40 representatives and some having 5. Even in the 1922 McPherson Constitution or whatever that we started, the representation of it wasn't this
quickly.
bad.
Before Evelyn comes in, another angle is this, like just like the way you start. Somebody have been saying who thinks or how, what is the modus operandi at the villa? Like now it's becoming a pattern. You churn out something. It's a policy or whatever. People react, and then you bring it back. What does it speak to?
I mean, it speaks to. You have asked me a couple of times, and I will tell you the same answer I give to you. Then is the same after. It shows people that are not prepared for governance, and it is not surprising to me because let's watch all the videos during campaign. You didn't see anywhere he literally campaign to say this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. He goes to Kano, I want to dance.
And then reversal.
He went to some state, started lambasting other political parties.
Talking about the president, he's not the only person.
He is the one that was
chief of staff, SGF.
Femi, you did not elect the chief of staff. He picked the chief of staff.
There is a cabinet to work
with. He picked his SGF. He picked his ministers himself.
All right.
Every blame goes to his desk because he was the one.
But would that be fair? Would that be fair? To solely blame the president.
He is the one to be blamed. Nobody knows Akume is going to be appointed as the SGF. Nobody knows Nuribadu was going to be appointed as the National Security Advisor. He was the one that got himself there. And he's the one that came out to say I want to contest for it. He even said, it is my turn.
Fair enough.
But the deep meaning of it is my turn, Nigerians do not know. And this is just what we are getting in return.
That's all from the front page of the Daily Trust.
And of course, we move over to the Guardian newspaper this morning. On the Guardian newspaper, 1 year of renewed hope, Tinubu's costly reforms leave Nigerians on edge 1 year after. And you can see a cartoon representation of Mr. President there drawing out blood from seemingly Nigerian. And you can see what the statement he is making, saying, calm down. I'm still drawing a sample to check how much pint we can get from you. And you can see that person on the sick bed screaming his lungs out.
The face of the patient.
That's like what it's representing. But away from that, on the Guardian newspaper, ministers give Tinubu pass mark amid rising inflation, subsidies, insecurity. Concerns over inactive $252 million Entel facility, missing info on NCC dashboard. 10-year economic rot can't be corrected in 12 months, says Sanusi cautions. 10-year economic rot cannot be corrected in 12 months, and this is coming from the former CBN governor, Sanusi. Senate to probe 11,856 abandoned projects across Nigeria after the Guardian report. EFCC dock former aviation minister Sirika brother in fresh 10-count charge. And reps pass bill to revert to old national anthem. As Sanusi returns, anxiety, uncertainty in Kano over fate of deposed emirs. Definitely in the course of the show, we are going to be talking more on some of these stories. But then Ladeji is here to help us talk about this big story. Ministers give Tinubu pass mark amid rising inflation, subsidies, and insecurity. Are they the one to actually mark Mr. President, seeing that they are also part of the office? They are also part of Mr. President. Let me just put it that way. So you cannot be you cannot be a judge in your own case.
But in Nigeria, you can be a judge in your own case. In fact, you can case your own judge. In Nigeria, most of the time, loyalty is not with the people. Loyalty is not with the constitution. Loyalty is not with the nation. Loyalty is who appointed you as a minister. And I bet you none of them can come out to say we have not done well. The following day is going on for whatsoever reason. So I'm not expecting. I'm leading the people that will be presenting the president is my guy from Rivers State. You should know.
Okay.
Apparently, he's my guy any day and time.
Yeah.
So, but for me, they should leave this to Nigerians to assess them. The assessment lives with the people. They are the one that bear the brunt.
Yeah.
You guys live literally as if we are not in the same country. You guys drive around in expensive SUVs with escort that clears the road for you. Average Nigerian states, especially Lagosians, there are people in Lagos and also in Abuja now people are complaining because now we've seen complaints of people that says when Mr. President want to pass, they stop a particular wing of the road. So other people use the other wing for themselves and it moves, all those things. But
is that not supposed to be the protocol?
It's not meant to be the protocol. It's a major way that leads from the Aso Rock to the airport. There is a private way for you at the airport. But on the major express, you don't close all the road because there are people going about businesses. That you are the leader doesn't mean you are the Lord. We are not in an authoritarian state. Okay. That's not the normal process. That just answers that. But beyond that, you are not the ones. It's like you ask me to write an exam and you not give me the privilege. Mark yourself. Even from where I'm wrong, I will put some parchment for it to look. So the only people that can assess this government truly are the Nigerian people. Go to Ojaoba, go to Alekuwodu, go to Okifia, go and assess. Ask how many people are now begging for food. Ask how many people that their salaries cannot take home now. Just yesterday, I was reading about the Burkina Faso president, the military dictator in Burkina Faso, who just reduced the salary of ministers and everybody in government by 30% and increased the minimum wage of the country by 50%. These are the people that are there to let the people know that we are here for you. But here, reverse is the case.
All right. Just before we move ahead, I'd like to ask, I know we're going to talk more about that in the course of the show, but the big story that happened in Kano State, Kano was shaken yesterday by the announcement, abolishing the 5 emirate councils and leaving just one, which is the Emirate of Kano. Now we've heard that those kings, those monarchs have been sacked, or they've been dethroned, and the former emir Muhammad Sanusi II has also been reinstated as the emir of Kano. What do you think?
Historically, this is one of the things that the British government successfully did, before leaving, taking off the absolute power from the king, because, as a society, as we evolved, it was, a monarchical system. And it is sad that even in the Britain now, they still practice the constitutional monarchical system. But here now, we have, any governor can just come in and dethrone any king. It feels like, the ideology doesn't tally. What, took Sanusi Lamido out of the throne was had a political undertone. All right. Now, again, we are back to this. I think our governors just need to understand that irrespective, even if you have all the powers to do and undo, this is a throne that we should respect. In everything, it happens virtually everywhere in Nigeria. I think the few places I've not really seen the interference would be maybe Edo, Onitsha, and some other places. But virtually, and I think also the way Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo has handled the Ibadan, stool also has been wonderful. But we need to respect, these are sacred thrones that we need to respect. They are traditional. Right. This is not something you just elect people into. It is something you need to respect. So politicians should not politicize issues that concern the throne of Obaship.
Traditional institution.
Traditional institution, generally.
That will be all from The Guardian.
All right, we have a very long way to go. And but quickly, let me just pick out these headlines, especially from The Nation. Ministerial stewardship by Badaru, Wike, Alake, and others. And Muhammadu Sanusi restored as Kano Emir. Nans, Naus, Naptan, others held student loan. And, alleged 5.8 billion naira fraud, court fixes May 28 for Sirika's and brothers trial. This is one Sirika Ladiji has been looking for.
What's that?
Sirika, Hadi Sirika.
Of course, yes.
He's having his day in court.
Of course, he should, and I expect
30
that.
30 seconds, your opinion then?
Yeah, my opinion is I expect that, this, I hope EFCC disappoint me now and see through to this. I really want to see him get punished.
They didn't appoint you. Why should they disappoint?
No, we appointed. They are there for us now. Okay. They are there to fight.
Your choice of disappointing.
No, I said I want them to disappoint me by seeing through to this case, because the expectation of many Nigerians will be they will just what have you heard about other people? But let us see through this, and also the people that started the coastal road and did not do the due process before they started that. I hope they also answer some questions some other time.
All right, many talking points, but time is really of essence. Thank you, Ladeji.
Always a pleasure.
It's a chilly morning.
Of course, yes.
Enjoy the rest of the, a wonderful day. I don't want to say chilly day. We'll go on this quick break. When we come back, we have a lot to talk about. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. And the conversation right now is about the latest development, at least as yesterday is concerned. Two major issues, really. The traditional institution in Kano State, there is another twist, because another law has been put in place sacking the 5 emirates in Kano, town, Kano Traditional Institution, rather. You remember that under Governor Ganduje, former Emir Sanusi was dethroned, and of course, 5 new emirates, was put up and of course backed by the law. But then it seems there is a reversal already on that. But then that all one side. Same yesterday, we learned the National Assembly. A bill has killed the second reading and then has been sent to the next committee to look into it. That would bring back the former national anthem. Nigeria We Hail Thee, and many persons are thinking, is that what we need at this time? what's wrong with these ones that we are, are rise on compatriots?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it? Why bring back that as well? And the national anthem of any nation is an identity of that nation. It's not just a song as well. But then to shed more light, for us this morning, we have a public affairs analyst. He's a policy analyst as well, Mr. Larry Fadamsi. I won't call him comrade this morning. We are not talking labor. So, good morning, sir. Thank you for being
good
here.
morning. Glad to be here. Good morning.
Yeah, Evelyn.
Yeah, so let's just start with Kano, but before we move on to more national matters. Everyone was surprised, kind of shocked at the way the bill passed the second, third reading. It was hastened before it was signed into law by the governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf. Before we come to you, I'd like us to watch that video where the governor of Kano State repealed the 5 emirate councils and reinstated the 14th emir of Kano, who now becomes the 16th emir of Kano, talking about Muhammad Sanusi II. Let's watch this video. We'll come back to take reactions.
I have approved the reappointment of Malam Sanusi popularly known as Muhammad Sanusi II, as the new emir of Kano. May I announce that the 5 former emirs affected by the Kano Emirates Repeal Law 2024 are given 48 hours from this hour to vacate official residences, palaces, offices, and equally hand over all properties of the former emirates to the Honorable Commissioner for Local Governments and Chieftaincy Affairs.
All right, so Mr. Fadamsi, as you can see, the lawmakers yesterday repealed the immediate past Kano Emirate Council Law of 2019, and it was signed into law by the governor of Kano State 1,545 days after the Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, was dethroned. Now it's been reinstated. How did you receive this news yesterday when it filtered into the public space?
I saw it as one of the marks of the current leadership in Nigeria. And it's like it tampers with virtually everything. Do you know that Kano happens to have been an in-law to Ajimobi, who actually started that with the Ibadan issue, and we are facing it even now.
You mean Ganduje?
Yes. When Ajimobi made the Bales and the rest, Obas, it's the same thing that Ganduje did in Kano. That was not the history of Kano. It was not traditional with Kano to say you are breaking emirates. It was always one emir of Kano. It has always been. So you now begin to wonder what the political class is trying to do to the traditional institutions. Because if not for carefulness and cohesion on the part of Ibadan, it's linked because Ajimobi and Ganduje happen to have been, so he probably thought that was a way to deal with the traditional institutions and bring that upon Kano, which is unusual. Now, these people, I must tell you now that as of this morning, there has been a federal court injunction, high court injunction that said that that action is null and void. Even the action of the governor that I took yesterday. So why are we doing this to the nation at this time? We know Kano and its volatility when it comes to issues of this nature.
The traditional institution.
No, not just the traditional. When it comes to issues of this nature, the political angle to traditional issues, it leads to chaos. And Kano chaos is not like ordinary ones. These guys go violent and it becomes uncontrollable. So why must we be causing this deliberately? Now, strangely, the court action now is calling for anarchy because there is a federal high court that said the governor cannot do that. And so A is trying to take preeminence, B is trying to say, we have done it. So what's going to happen in the middle? The common man on the streets will be jittery now. What is the next line of action that these people will take? Because those ones who have been told they can go back will not vacate the palaces. That's what they are saying. They will say the court has said they can still stay.
And the governor said he gave them
48
2 days.
hours.
Yeah.
48 hours, and this court has now said you can't, you return to status quo.
Stand down. Yeah.
And those ones will now be muscling to say, look, the court has said we can stay and you can't remove us. We can't allow this to continue. It's not right.
If you can take it back a bit, you know, some of the reasons that were given before Sanusi Lamido, His Eminence was removed was he was behaving in a manner that was inconsistent with the traditional institution, insubordination to the government at the time, you know, speaking in a way that is not, you know, worthy, you know, of traditional ruler of his stature. And then it was removed. At that time, it was sent on exile to Nasarawa State or so. And then everything happened. At that time, many persons saw it as, okay, many persons saw it as political meddlesomeness at the other way. So this action of Governor Abba Yusuf right now, do you see it as correcting? Is it a corrective measure or is another meddlesomeness of the political class with the transitional institution? Which angle are you looking at it?
Okay.
Is it a corrective
Just
measure?
as yesterday, I think Sanusi Lamido was somewhere in Port Harcourt or so, and he had to leave the event after making the speech. But he said something there that talking about insubordination by traditional ruler because they are critical of actions of office holders. And for a Ganduje to have done that, I don't know how. You see, there are some certain things that goes with actions that people take. The morality around your person. You must be a person of integrity to question the moral attitude or disposition of people. What was Sanusi talking about? About profligacy in governance in Kano? About the activities of the current administration at that time. And it's in public space. What happened about that? That's what this present administration is talking about. That look, there was a corruption that had to do with stuffing of dollars. They are caught on that already. So if all of these things revolve around somebody that now spoke about insubordination, then it goes to question the moral compass of that person that took that action. Did that person think deep? Because I've always known an emir of Kano at part-time. All those sub places were subs under him.
Yeah.
And so you copyright at times, and at times you copy wrong. Do you realize that the distortion, it was the first time in the history of Ibadan that such a thing will happen too? When you are making balance obas.
It's like you keep making this linkage.
No, the linkage is just too direct. Because Kano, if you go and study the history of Kano, it has always been one area.
And these two traditional stools you are talking about are not just mere stools.
They are not.
Yeah.
Look at the population of both places. If there's going to be any crisis anywhere, you won't want it to happen in Ibadan.
So do you see this as being corrective or is another meddlesomeness?
No, it is
By politicians.
It is meddlesomeness by politicians, and two wrongs don't make a right. However, someday that action that removed Sanusi would still have to be corrected.
And do you think that's what has been done?
That was what was done. It was hasty, it was rushy, and you know the emir of Kano, the current Bayero man, was actually with Awujale. Because he felt, look, these people will get through with this and get it done with. And That was probably why they rushed it. It was a rushed action that before he comes back, we would have sorted, and then another court. So all these actions points to one thing. One, you have meddled in National Assembly, you have tampered with the judiciary, everything, and then the traditional institution now.
When you say you, who are you referring to?
Politicians. They have tampered with everything that is supposed to make the ship of state stable. Is tilting it. All actions and inactions too. And both is not making it look like we understand the actions that might follow. Imagine it was it not yesterday or day before that Shetima Yerima, that youth leader up north, said, look, if the youth up north should stand up and start crisis now, Nigeria will not be able to contain it. That they don't have the lever to endure pain that they are going through now. So if the political class is now still creating issues like this,
Around it, yeah.
when there is a keg of gunpowder that is just waiting to be lit, it's going to...
If you have to put party politics to it before Evelyn comes in, there are many persons since yesterday that have been saying APC removed Sanusi, NNPP has brought him back.
Yeah.
You see it that way.
But that's the truth. APC removed Sanusi, NNPP brought him back. And don't forget, NNPP that brought him back, you cannot totally remove the hands of Kwakwanso from it.
Yeah. He's the party leader. All right.
Now,
and by the way, it was Kwakwanso that installed him. Ab initio.
that's what I'm saying.
Ganduje was his deputy at the time.
At the time. That's what I'm saying. That you see, the politics of Kano, to a large extent, interprets. It does not define the politics of Nigeria, but it interprets to a large extent what happens in most cases. Now, a Kwakwanso person taking that action now, don't also forget that presently people cannot immediately define the role of the former governor of Kaduna State in the present situation of things politically.
Talking about Malam.
Yeah.
Nasir.
Nasir El-Rufai was reported to be talking to a chieftain of IPOB outside Nigeria some 72 hours ago. So some things are happening that we must start thinking, what are this? The risk is too much. There's clear and present danger that we must be careful about.
Will still unfold.
The unfolding things are now things that, as a nation, we must really sit down and say, some things are happening on the ground that we need to be very careful about. This nascent democracy, we don't want, because we think it's a magic one that made some things happen in some places. No. Look at Congo, how many hours back? Some things are pushing, and we must suspect some of these moves. It's strange, but we must suspect them.
So you feel this move by the Kano state government is not just the reversal of the 2019
It was a
law.
right move, but it was hasty.
It was hasty.
It was hasty, and that there are two things about Kano. When it sits well with Kano public, there's no commotion. When it doesn't, there's conflagration. So as of this morning, if there has not been any conflagration in Kano, then it means they had expected it. That the population, the larger population, had expected that to happen.
And also there is this talk about Muhammadu Sanusi II being an ally of Kwankwaso. Abba Yusuf is a Kwankwaso man. And there is this question of, are we going to have, if had he been there where it wasn't Abba Yusuf, that is governor of Kano State now, are we going to have the reinstatement of Muhammadu Sanusi as Emir of Kano? Are we going to have the abolishment of this 5 emirate councils? It's more political than
If it is
we
not
think.
Abba Yusuf, you probably wouldn't have had it. If Ganduje had been able to install somebody to replace him, but the rejection in Kano was resolute that they don't want him to replace himself. Which means if indeed the population in Kano are in sync with the Abba Yusuf team, with Kwakwanso team, then most of the actions of Ganduje, they probably did not approve of. A lot of things that are being questioned about. You can imagine going to court and saying, look, we want to challenge you on this fraud and corruption. Deputy governor to Ganduje said the government house became source of forex for bureau de change. That is an indictment. You understand? Somebody that was your deputy, same party, same government, said they turned the government house into source of forex supply to bureau de change. Then it tells you that a lot of things happened under that administration that didn't sit well with people.
One more question before we move to our next topic. Where does this leave us as Nigerians, where one government comes, makes a policy, and the next government comes, reverses the policy, another government comes, reverses the policy that the former government reverses? I mean, it means we are going one step forward, two steps backward, one step forward, three steps backward. Where does this leave us as a Nigerian people? Because like you said earlier, it's not just a Kano issue, it's a Nigerian thing. How do investors view this? How inconsistent do they think we are as a people?
One of the so-called investors that we thought we were pushing for here just went to, I think, Angola with $6 billion to invest there. Because they won't come here. You don't show seriousness. Our institutions are so weak, nobody is ready to trust them. It's been reported that, Nigerian Central Bank even used some maybe $3 billion to support the Naira. So some of the actions we are taking, you are not taking positive steps.
But they have denied that.
They will deny it. Of course, when they were talking about that Nigeria has been paying subsidy, did they not deny it? They will deny it because they are not in sync with the policy you push forward that you are holding on to. Now, the fear now is that our institutions have been weakened. Our institutions, you can imagine somebody that some law enforcement agents wanted to pick up that was protected by policemen like Yahaya Bello. You understand? These are things that without anybody, even the ADC should have said, Your Excellency, we need you at the headquarters. Your time as governor is over and you are supposed to go there, so I'm going to lead you as my duty. But they have changed to become bag carriers for politicians. You get it? So all those institutions that we have mortgaged their relevance is not putting any modicum of respect on a nation. And so the more that happens, the more people move away. All these policies that they have been doing and weakening the Naira and all the rest, how many investors have come? Because look, you are corrupt.
And the example you gave about a particular investor moving away from Nigeria to Angola, $6 billion, their main reason was inconsistency in policy.
In policy, that's you see, because these people can read
even if there are other factors, but that was key for them.
They can read between the lines. And so they will say, look, these people are serious. And then another thing is, when they look at some of your policies, that today will come, tomorrow you will turn. It's not supposed to be. Once we have an agreement, but you are not stable. Today you say one thing, tomorrow you change it. We can't deal with it.
It's a key one. Now, we switch gears very quickly. And just like I said yesterday, there were moves about the National Assembly to return the former anthem, the national anthem of Nigeria, known as Nigeria We Hail Thee, from 1960 to 1978. That was used thereabout. And then we have these Orazo compatriots, and many Nigerians are wondering what is really happening. We allow you to have, for many persons who doesn't know what he sounded like, that Nigeria We Hail the old anthem. If we are ready, we could quickly have that.
Anthem, Mr. Albert Congo raises the flag of the new nation. Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians home and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. Oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is.
All right, Nigeria, we hailed thee.
Yeah.
You know, I think these will bring good nostalgia to some elderly persons. You know, Mr.
Like
Fadansi,
Mr. Fadansi.
you've seen these. The National Assembly is saying, we are bringing these back. Nigeria will hail thee, our own dear native land. And many persons are saying, why this at this time? Is it the lyrics that is deeper? Does that have anything to do with us? But it seems it's looking like this we go through. Why?
A distraction per second. You know, you are per minute billing, there's a second billing. That's what we face these days, because that's a legion of things for the National Assembly to discuss, and they are now talking about that it's passing first and second reading. Some of them went out in protest. That why rush that? But in my while we were in school in the university, we used to sing Nigeria We Hail Thee. When the government, especially the military government, takes some decisions that we see does not sit well with students, with Nigerian youths, we say, look, let's go back to the old national anthem. So it was in defiance that, look, you are not working well. But look at it this way. In my mind, is chastisement, self-judgment in the negative to make this decision. Are they compatriots that are there? Have they been sincere in their activity in those chambers as far as Nigerians are concerned? Do you get the drift? So if they are making this, okay, arise, we're compatriots, okay, so we believe you are not even patriotic enough to have taken the issues of Nigeria to heart. In most cases, out of 100, you say, okay, 50%, 30, 20. In terms of look at the life of Nigerians and make sure that 50% of whatever Nigerians can earn will take care of housing, will take care of education, will take care of that, then others for feeding and the rest. But if you are not looking at that, as far as an average Nigerian is concerned, then you have not met their needs.
Are you saying there was really no need?
No, absolutely none.
Because the national anthem
is not even supposed to be a discussion.
The national anthem is one of the identities of any nation, including Nigeria. So, Nigeria We Hail Thee, arise a compatriot, you are saying that should not even have come up at all.
Do you remember during the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yeah.
That whenever there was NFL competition, which is like a ritual in America, some guys will go on their knees and say they won't stand up for the national anthem.
They took a knee. Yeah.
So there are things you do that, look, this is not in tandem with what this spirit-filled song of a nation is supposed to talk about. Oh God of creation, direct our noble cause. Guide our leaders right. Are the leaders acting right? Help our youths. The youths, they don't want them to know the truth.
Do you think that's why they want it abolished?
No, you don't get it. That some things can actually bring about. Because if the youths know the truth, they want to be free. And so you don't want to, let's give them the soft, we AD, you have our unity. We don't need it.
You think that's
do you know, wait a minute. Do you know what Professor Soyinka said? He said, I'm not against Kanu. It's because of his caustic language. Some people should have a right to say, we don't want to be a part of this type of union. What has the union done for us as a nation?
Now, the person who promulgated this particular bill is a very high-ranking member. I think the majority,
of the National Assembly, yes.
Yeah, Opeyemi Bamidele. And then let's watch the reason given by the National Assembly.
The bill that seeks to enjoin us to look at our anthem as a national symbol and sign of authority, one that will pull us together, that will give us hope and courage, a sense of duty to the nation, that does not necessarily deny the reality. And that is the main problem of contemporary societies. They deny reality. They pretend racism doesn't exist. Ethnicity doesn't exist. Poverty doesn't exist. They rationalize this by looking at GNP, GDP, trade figures, inflation. The reality strikes people in the face. And it is when you admit the realities that you can tackle it and deal with it frontally. So it seeks to say that as people, as Nigerians, confronting a new, renewed hope, moving forward, tackling the rot, decay, dislocation, and distortions of the past, we should go back to our old national anthem, which gives us that energy, that sense of commitment, sense of dedication, and a desire to move Nigeria forward. I have taken time to look at both anthems, the old and the new. And as a Nigerian who's been involved in the struggle to make Nigeria a better place, either as a student in the student union movement, including putting in place the Ali Must Go movement, or as a university teacher, having been secretary, vice chairman, and chairman of ASU, or as a pro-democracy activist who spent 12.5 years in self-exile, working with other colleagues, and active on Radio Kurirat and the Nadeco Alliance, including JACON, the Joint Action Committee on Nigeria, with very prominent Nigerians, including our current president and the Nobel laureate of this country, Wole Soyinka, and others. I believe that the old anthem encompasses, contains, and exudes the kind of energy, resourcefulness, and sense of vision that I believe is good for Nigeria.
So far, that was Honorable Hiobere there at the House of Reps, and he's saying having worked in different capacities, he has, taken the two lyrics of both anthems side by side, and he thinks there is sense of commitment in these one that they are trying to bring back. You agree with it?
I just mentioned it, that in those days, in our university days, we sang Nigeria with LD in defiance of the military government in most cases. You understand? That, look, all these things you are putting forward as a government is not positive enough to merge with the anthem that you want us to sing. So we rather go back to the independence anthem and sing Nigeria with LD. He was not, now he is part of power now. He's in the seat of power. And he's now going back to think that way. But me, I'm looking at the real wordings of those anthems. How much of God of creation directing them have they taken? Do you get the drift? So to me, they want to depart from that course of saying, look, are we being guided right in dealing with Nigerians? In our actions, the National Assembly can control the executive. That your policies are not working. How much of that have you heard? Now they are talking about anthem. Do you get the drift? People are complaining on a daily. We are sad, we are poor, we are hungry. No, National Assembly should be talking about what Yerima Shetima said. That young Northerners will strike and nobody will be able to contain them because they are hungry. They are not talking about that. They are not talking about anthem. So it goes to show the depth of those in those places, and there is clear and present danger, and I'm sorry that it appears they don't see it.
But Mr. Fadaun, see, the fact that they are talking about this does not mean that they are not talking about other issues. They say two truths can coexist. So, my
dear sister, look at how fast. That's why some left. That That look, where did you people meet to have decided that it will pass first reading, second reading immediately?
You feel there's a motive behind it?
There's a motive
What
behind
do you
it.
think the motive might be?
Distractions. So we all start arguing about that. We won't even remember there is an issue of minimum wage that has not been settled. There is an hope for May 29 that let's listen and hear what subsidy is gone, we'll still say. You understand? So people are expectant of certain things. And you know, politicians are filled with intrigues. They are managers of intrigues.
So
that look, let's create something so that they will be too busy talking about it.
They always fashion out something for us
so
to
that
chew.
we will take our eyes off and all other things.
But do you think Nigerians are easily distracted?
Let me tell you something. That at some point it appeared the government was saying, don't worry, we will give minimum wage and the workers will be happy. And for an IMF to come and say, you will need supplementary budget. Direction, who are the puppeteers turning the heads of the government? And you are talking in the same country about 300% of judiciary. This is unfortunate. We can't continue like this. We can't.
But do you think Nigerians are easily distracted? I mean, you just said they brought this out to distract people.
Intrigues to distract. But eye on the goal. People are not, they're not even reckoning with all these things. It's we who are inclined to the media that the people are not, they'll sit there and say, they don't count them anymore. The relevance of their, how can you say, all of the people that are watching, what has happened? Do you get the drift? People who collect the huge salaries are the ones who the government buy fuel for, who the government feeds in government houses. Do you get the drift? But those who have been paying for their fueling, who have been buying food from those who paid to bring the things to market and is expensive, have not had any change in their income for the past 1 year. By 29th of May, it would have been 1 year. So what seriousness can you say any government apparatus will tell Nigerians and they will take them? People are just saying, intrigue per day, we are prepared, we know, we are used to it. Now, but there is always a breaking point and it shouldn't get there.
All right, so there are some people that say that this new bill being passed in the National Assembly for us to revert to the old national anthem is an insult to the originality of Nigeria and Nigerians, owing to the fact that this song was composed by a British expatriate in the year 1960, and in 1978 we had the Nigeria Arise O Compatriot
as Nigerians
by Nigerians.
Evelyn, as Nigerians,
yes,
we know better. Have you listened to T.Y. Bellows' The Land is Green? Have you looked at the lyrics of it? We have better things that have shown us depth. And there's another lady they show on most NTA channels and the rest of them, even on DSTV. That song about Nigeria, oh, beautiful. Big enough to be the anthem that drives growth. But the people who can bring such on are not yet there, because the passion must be in you to be able to relate. So the national anthem has to be a national anthem, and then just...
I think what Evelyn is saying, do you find it insultive that what was bequeathed to us by the colonialists is what we are trying to go back to?
When we had one that was composed by Nigerian, in fact, a police officer composed the Arise O Compatriot.
Sentiments, I don't, the depth of
doesn't matter for you.
To me, it doesn't matter.
Now,
what those people told us then, if that song, do you see the way people embraced the action group anthem? Ishewa funlewa, funlebiwa, in our language. Do you get the drift? It spoke to the hearts of the people. So when people sing it, Iwoni, Imole, Ogo Adulawa, and all the rest, I mean, it talks to us. So whatever anthem that has been taken nationally, the national conscience of developing the nation, oh, I wish you could picture where we should be now. In 1959, we had a television station before France. What have we done to ourselves? By the name of this, in unity we stand. What unity? Unity that has not brought anything positive. Look, galvanized decision is possible. You talk, you discuss intelligently.
So if I get you right, let me saying you are saying either Arise Your Compatriot, Either Nigerian with LD. You feel the spirit of both anthems is not sinking in right now with our leaders.
The depth, spirit, and soul has been taken off the two.
So whatever it may be right now,
doesn't really matter.
It's not resonating.
It's not resonating because guide our leaders right. Have they shown capacity to have indicated that God has really guided them for the masses of Nigeria?
Yeah.
Help our youth the truth to know. It's the youth that are discovering the truth themselves. You're not helping them. So at the end of the day, I kept saying it, I've said it here before, that I marvel at the redolent attitude of leadership, that they forget easily. It did not take 24 hours for NSAS to get national. It was not as if they held meetings or called conferences anywhere. Why can't people know that some actions happen and you can't control it? Why can't we start thinking? Look at, it's still in the pipeline, student loan. Everything pipeline in the last 1 year. That has to do with the mass of the people.
We learned the portal will open today.
Oh, the portal will open today.
24th.
It has to be federal universities. All those rules are now being churned out little by little. I hope the portal won't break down like IRF did, so that we'll still start having issues about all these things. I don't know. I think we need another conference to really say truth to ourselves. As a nation, we have not been truthful.
We had conference in 2014, isn't it?
The
report is, the report is there for everybody.
The truth is, now,
the confab.
There is this American clear and present danger. Some things happen that tells you, why are we watching this? Do we wait till it explodes?
Is it the conference that we really need? Because many persons will say, two different mediums, two different platforms, organizations, and discussions.
Do you know what will bring about?
Conversations have been going on.
Do you know what will bring
really
about very serious discussion and engagement in the next 1-2 weeks?
Yeah.
It was a bombshell, the Soyinka statement. Do you understand? That people should have a right to say we don't want to belong. Because to me, it brought us back. The Western region paid better than the federal government of Nigeria when Awolowo was in government. You need people who can really sit down and think.
But don't you think that ship has sailed long ago?
Saving the ship of state was part of the speeches of Awolowo. That his tilting is going to crash. Look at what has happened to us. Our free education beneficiaries, they call them our FEB. Are the people who are not giving education now? Not even that
those who benefited.
Who benefited? Who were children of artisans and all that our insisted, look, your children must go to at least primary school. And the children became brilliant, and it went on like that. And scholarship in secondary school, scholarship in university, became professors, and had a leverage of freedom. Do you get the drift? But now the beneficiaries are now the ones saying it is not possible. You don't grow a nation like that. Right?
We have to go now. This is where we have to draw the curtains on the show this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry Fadaunsi.
I hope I've not been too hot on this.
That's why we have you here.
Because I have to be factual.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what is the major problem. People have identity crisis. You're not big, you want to act big. I don't know how can you live in a nation where somebody is a billionaire, he does not have any business, he does not have any production line. Do you get?
All right.
And we are watching. It's not helping.
All right, Mr. Larry Fadaunsi is a policy and public affairs analyst. Thank you for your submissions this morning, your thoughts.
Thank you.
And that's where we draw the curtains for this day and this week. That's on Morning Spring. We hope you had a great time with us. You can watch a recap of the show on our YouTube page, channel at Western Spring Television. Also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiola, and saying a prayer for Nigeria, that Nigeria will and must work in our own time.
O God of creation, direct and noble cause. So we hope that still remains as it is. Femi Ojo is my name. And let's inform you and remind you that the student loan portal opens today. Today's the 4th. Good luck to everyone. Thank you for staying with us all week. We'll be back, God willing, next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless Nigeria. Bye.